Hey everybody, how's everyone doing? Hope everybody's staying safe. This is Phil, the Kaiju King, from my collection room here in Greater Cincinnati. And in this video, I am taking a look at the long-awaited, long-awaited figure that's I've been waiting on for 2 months. The Yuji Sakai model collection, 30 centimeter Godzilla 1984, the standard version. In my opening of my video, I hope you all appreciated that. But I had to pull that audio from the It Chapter 2 film, because that's what it felt like, waiting for this figure. I try to make a little comedy out of it there, and just to lighten it up with all the shipping craziness from Japan. But I've literally been waiting on this figure for 2 months, and it was a pleasant surprise this week. I just got it actually earlier today, so... And I started working on my review the other day, was doing my opening, and I knew what I was going to use was that audio from the It movie, and I just thought it was apropos considering the long wait a lot of us X Plus collectors have had waiting for this figure. Of course, well, I'll start off with the box here. Standard fare for the Sakai boxes, pretty much. This is how most of them look. Nice picture on the front, as always, of the figure there. 2 different angles, but that is the actual figure. Nice Japanese titling for the figure, and up here, 65 years of Godzilla up there. Very nicely done, but also standard fare for the Yuji Sakai modeling collection, 30 centimeter X Plus figures. But it is a cool box. I keep all my boxes, at least to this date. So we'll go on and take a quick look at the figure, and we'll move on to that right now. And here he is, folks, in all his glory, the Yuji Sakai 30 centimeter Godzilla 1984 from the awesome film Godzilla 1984. This is the return of Godzilla after a almost 10-year hiatus, 9 years. Probably it's tied with 95 for me for my favorite Heisei film, but if I was twisted an arm and I had to pick just one, I think I'd pick 84. I love the whole storyline of the film, the concept of Godzilla. Of course, he's returning to his force of nature Godzilla, which is really a lot of people's favorite. Not necessarily evil, but he does some evil stuff in the film. I think he's just warning about the surroundings since he's been on hiatus, but he does do some evil things in the film, a couple little things, but it's a return of Godzilla to the original. It screams a lot, the film of the 54, and this film negates every other film except for the original of 54. It acknowledges that film, but it doesn't acknowledge anything else. So it's kind of like a reboot almost, in a way, in my opinion. But the story of the movie is kind of really similar at the beginning to the 54. The shipwreck happens and only one survivor is there, and he claims he sees a monster. Then later they figure out through and confirm through a sonar technology, a picture of a sonar picture, that they see Godzilla's silhouette in the picture as after he had just destroyed the Russian sub, which the Russians were blaming the Americans on that, and we was about to go into World War III there, until the Japanese came forward and stopped that and said, no, it was not the Americans, it was something else. We have proof that it was Godzilla, and that's when they revealed the sonar picture of Godzilla and in the area of where the sub was destroyed. So from then on, it was a constant preparation for the Japanese. They didn't know when or where he would hit land. My favorite probably scenes in the film is his first actual revealing there at the power plant when he breaks into the nuclear facility and feeds off the reactor core, and then closely followed by when he first comes ashore, Tokyo Bay area, and he just lights up the military that's lining the dock for defense. He lights it up from one end to the other and just destroys everything with one single atomic breath below. It's pretty awesome. But the movie is really, it's traditional, what Godzilla, force of nature, they can't really stop him, but we have to give the Super X some credit. It did do a pretty good job of dealing with Godzilla. It even took him down with the Cantium, I think they were called Cantium missiles that they shot into his mouth, and it stopped his heartbeat, I guess, kind of killed him in a way. I don't think he was really dead, but kind of sounded like his heart was stopping beating there. And he fell into the building, but then in the meantime the Russians had accidentally launched a nuclear missile from space. The U.S. sent another missile to intercept it, and it blew up in the atmosphere. But then that fallout from the missile over Japan and the lightning, that combination re-sparked Godzilla, and he went on to overtake the Super X, brought it down to the ground, and then he pushed a building over on it, which was just crazy. But the Super X did do a pretty admirable job of trying to deal with Godzilla. You have to admit, that's one of the best fights that the Japanese military's put up to Godzilla to that point in the franchise. But then they figured out that, the scientists figured out that Godzilla was attracted to the birds, and they found the frequency that was equivalent to the birds and created a sound system and everything at the Mount Mahar, I believe, the volcano. Godzilla went there, and then they had planted explosives in the inside of rim of the volcano, and Godzilla ended vanquishing into the volcano at the end, which was kind of sad, really. It shows the Japanese government all standing watching, and some of them were actually crying, so pretty sad, really, at the end of that film. I love that movie. If I had to twist my arm, I would say the 84 is probably my favorite, but very, right now it's just a tie with this and the 95. 95 is just so epic because Godzilla dies in that film. But this, great movie, love the movie. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. I need to pick up the Godzilla 1985, the Americanized version. I only have the Blu-ray of the 84 with the Japanese dubbed also, but I don't have the 85. I need to grab that. This figure is pretty cool, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, everybody has harped in the X Plus group figure of the year to date, and it is. It's easily the figure of the year, in my opinion. It's nicely done. It's a usual Sakai. Most Sakais, the tail almost goes straight back. The tail goes down, touches. Pretty much goes straight back, curves slightly off to the Godzilla's left there. The dorsal plate's very nicely done. And they also got a really light blue tinge to them, which is kind of cool, but I mean, in the movie, I don't think his dorsal plates really had that, unless he was actually emitting his atomic breath. I know the Rick was a light up, and it had really nice looking dorsal plates, actually. And this is a pretty cool that they did that, but when he's not emitting his atomic breath, I don't really recall the blue tinge on his dorsal plates. But it does look cool, though. Like, maybe he's getting ready to fire up his atomic breath, so that's pretty cool. But it is nicely done. Dorsal plate is really nicely done. Like I said, the light blue on the outer, the darker black charcoal gray on the inner with the bumpy textures, just like in the movie. The skin sculpting of this Godzilla, traditional tree bark skin. I think his skin is a little bit darker in color. I think this is captured from the Shinjuku night fight of the film when he's battling the Super X. So maybe it's to portray the nighttime scene so he looks darker, because I think the paint on this is a little bit darker than some of the other Sakais. But the skin, tree bark skin, very nicely sculpted on this figure, on the legs, everywhere, on the body, on the arms, everywhere. Very, very nicely done sculpting here. As always, what you would expect from Yuji Sakai and X Plus. Toenails, fingernails, nicely done. 4-toed scheme, 4 fingers on the hands. They are a bone white, almost with a slight tinge of yellow, I would say. They're dark at the base, the nails, and then they get to the bone white on the toenails and the claw nails. They're nicely done. I love how this Godzilla has his hands positioned. The right hand kind of up, the left hand down. Always in the movie, it seemed like his hands were always like in that position. One up higher, quite a bit higher than the other, to me at least. So it really captures the whole essence of the 1984 Godzilla. Of course, nicely done head sculpting on this thing, very nice. The mouth is just slightly opened there. His teeth are nicely done with the big fangs on the outer part of the jaws there. And then his teeth are individually sculpted in the mouth, very nicely done. Nice eyebrow ridge, nice little pointy ears. Of course, trademark to this Godzilla is the bloodshot eyes, and he does have that. So he has the black pupil with the outer brown on the pupil, the white of the eye, and then you do see the red bloodshot in the back of his eyes. So that's pretty cool that they always, that is a trademark of the 84 Godzilla. The bloodshot eyes. Very nicely done. My mouth, I heated up the jaw areas and held it together for a little while, and it seemed like it closed it more than it was. I feel like if you heat them up real good and wrap maybe a rubber band around his jaws for a day and leave it, I'll bet his mouth would almost stay closed. I'm not sure of that, but it seems like mine's more closed than when it came out of the box, because I'd heated it up twice, and then I literally took my hands and just held it like this for like 10 minutes after that. And then it seems like it's more closed than when I took it out of the box. So I think if you did something like that, heat up the jaws real well, wrap a rubber band around his jaws real tight and leave it for a day, I have a feeling you might have a really truly closed mouth with this thing. But I like it like it is. It's pretty good. It's a nice figure. I would say definitely in the leader's box for figure of the year at this midway point of the year for X Plus. Definitely a pleasant box day, considering I haven't really had any because of the whole shipping thing from Japan. Still waiting on several other figures, but one of them's in limbo, the Gamera 99 Battle Damage version, and the other one's Hobby Search hasn't even shipped. The Gamera 99 is the Rick and the US Rick site. It has a tracking number on it. It says acceptance since 4/23. So I sent them an email Monday, I think, and asked them, can you find out where it's at, or do you know if you're just holding it, or is it just in limbo, and they said they would get back to me, so hopefully they do. But I ordered this from Hobby Search, and I paid for it like almost exactly 2 months ago, around the 10th or 11th of April in that time frame. And then on the 14th it had the tracking number, and it was sitting in Japan, and it had set until last week when it finally started moving. And I got here in the US actually on Friday in Chicago. So it took from Friday till today to get from Chicago to me, and usually it's the next day. So I think even shipping and our US shipping is slowed down because of the pandemic, I guess. Really nice figure. I know a lot of people already had theirs, got theirs, and I know everybody agrees. I don't really see nothing wrong with this figure. It's really great. Maybe the toenails and claw nails are slightly off colored from the movie, but I don't think they were much yellow in them, but there is some yellowish coloring to them. But other than that, really, there's nothing wrong with this figure. It's great. I also think the tail, to me, is a little bit long. Just my opinion. I don't think this Godzilla's tail was this long, but maybe I'm wrong. Alright, we'll go on to some quick size comparisons, and let's do that right now. Alright everybody, I'm back. I got 3 Yuji Sakai's up here to size comparison with this. Here's the 91, a virtual favorite for everyone. The 89, and then the 95, the Burning Godzilla. The 84 is kind of between the 95 and the others as far as sizing. The 95 is a little bit bigger, a little bit taller than the 84, but the 84 is taller than the other ones in the line, it seems like. So I'd say he's between sizes, because the 95 is like really a true 30 centimeter. He's really actually the biggest Sakai of the line, the 30 centimeter line. So great line, the Sakais. All right, I'll bring up all my 84s that I have. Let's do that right now. All right, everybody, I'm back. Here are all my 84s currently in my collection. The original 30 centimeter, the Sakai I just got, the D4 standard, and then my custom gigantic 84 holding the reactor core from like in the movie. These are all pretty good figures, pretty big, especially that gigantic, of course. He scales right up with the whole lineup, so. I like my original 84 as well. I don't think I'd ever get rid of it. I know a lot of people sold their original 84 after they got pre-ordered this, but I really like this. I think it's a good capture of this Godzilla as well from the movie. This reminds me of scenes in the movie when he has an open mouth, so I like it. All right, I'll move on to some quick final thoughts on this new Sakai, and we'll do that right now. I'm back, everyone. Final thoughts. This thing's great. Pretty cool. The tail is really long, and just every time I look at it, I think, man, that tail's really long. All the Sakais have pretty long tails, but I don't know that this suit actually had a really long tail like that. I think it was a little more blunter at the end, but that's just that's me nitpicking. Otherwise, the toenails have a little bit of yellow in them, and that might be a little slightly off. But other than that, man, it's things vinyl perfection. Very nice 84. One of the most anticipated 84s everyone wanted was this thing. Very anticipated. I remember when it got announced, there was a lot of buzz on it, on the X Plus group about it, and it has held up its end as far as all the buzz. So it's a very nice figure. I would highly recommend this figure to anyone that would like one. If you can manage to get it now, because once the aftermarket kicks in, it's going to really go up in price, I fear. It's a nice figure. Highly recommend it to anyone that is especially in love with the 84 like I do. I love the 84. Very cool figure. Very cool. Very good day. Finally a box day after all these months. Hopefully it won't be another 2 months before I have a box day, but we'll find out, I guess. Alright, everyone, I'll bring the camera a little closer now to do a capture here of a close-up and a close of my video. I want to thank everyone that always tunes into my channel. This is Phil, the Kaiju King, from my collection room from Greater Cincinnati, and I'll wish you all a very blessed day, and I'll talk to you again soon.